Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show, coming at you from the great state of Florida. One hell of a drug. And I do want to welcome you to the channel wherever you are tuning in from around the world. Thanks for watching. Now today we're going to talk about, is the bull market canceled? Did the Fed rain on the Christmas parade that we talked about a little bit yesterday? We're going to look into that, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff as well. But as always, if you're a regular watcher of the show, you know what I'm going to say next. Smash that like button. This does help get this channel out to more people and does help support the channel. And I do appreciate all the kind words that you'll leave in the comments section below. You take the time to write it, and I take the time to read it. Particularly, thank you to all those well wishers for as we crossed over the 10,000 subscriber mark. None of that would be possible, of course, without the wonderful Tribal Trades family community that we have built here together. Okay, and so also those of you who ask questions, please be patient. I do get back to those. And as soon as I am able to, and of course, the emphasis on as soon as I am able to, I would love to see you. If you are not part of the Discord yet, the Stocks with Josh Discord, you can sign up. There are links below in the description. You might just have to click on the more button. It will pop out. I am in the Stocks with Josh Discord, in the crypto channel there, engaging with people daily there, talking to the most amazing people on the planet. And then also there is a meme coin channel, aka the Party Zone. And I have my own Crowned Traders channel in there where I do share some educational resources, analysis, share some of my trades in there, as well as some entertainment, because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. It's for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? And so I hope to see you in there. Would love to see you in there, of course. And there's a couple of options there below. I also have my X handle there below in the description as well. If you'd love to follow, give us a follow on X. I do post on there as well. Okay, so the question is the bull market canceled? Well, obviously, I think, in my opinion, no, I don't think it's canceled. And as you can see here, what happened yesterday stated that the Fed was not allowed to own Bitcoin, and that they weren't expecting any law changes, or weren't looking for any law changes, something to that effect. And of course, the Wolf of Wall Street said, good thing it would be the Treasury putting Bitcoin in the balance sheet if Bitcoin was made a reserve asset. This means nothing. Okay, so this was just a bit of a, here we saw, obviously we have, this is what he said when asked about the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Powell said the Fed is not allowed to hold Bitcoin and they're not looking to change that law. However, the proposed bill's strategic reserve have suggested the US Treasury hold the Bitcoin, so this is not really a big deal, according to Satoshi Stacker. We did see Marty Party that Powell's speech announcement wipes out over 1.5 trillion from the US stock market today. And so I know a lot of people were not happy with the Fed chairman there, and I can understand why I wasn't really happy about what went down yesterday as well. So from what I'm understanding from all the reading, if the bill before President-elect is signed, once that inauguration happens, goes into the office, then that would just change everything anyway. So I think with this is my understanding, with the stroke of a pen, then everything that Powell says is just irrelevant anyway. And that's what a lot of other people are saying as well. We do see that Bitcoin dominance is showing some increasing signs of reclaiming the long-term technical trade. As long as this continues, Bitcoin season will be in session. Okay, and we will have a quick look at this. And what did I tell you all? What did I say? The Tribal Trades trend line, one line to rule them all. Okay, just kidding. There's lots of lines out there, not just one line, but it sounded cool. All right, so there you go. You have it there. We broke down from this level. We came back up and we rejected at the 200 EMA in the daily, and we initially came down and we had a higher low there. Okay, we had a higher low, and then we're coming in, we kind of really busted through that 200 EMA on the daily, so that was a little bit a concern. And then where did I think that we would be retested? There it is there. I said at the 50-day moving average. Go back to a video I did a couple of days ago. I said I felt we'd be stopped at the 50-day average, which is where the Tribal Trades trend line was. And when I drew this line, the 50-day moving average back here, okay, because this line has gone back some distance here. So this is not a trend line that's just a little trend line from the last few days. And so, of course, what can happen here, there can be a breakthrough here. We did see Bitcoin dominance top out at December 28th in 2020. Right now, it's topped out on November 21st. So maybe this cycle is a little bit accelerated. If this ends up being the top for this cycle for Bitcoin dominance, then we do see that it has topped out around about a month early. And maybe this is accelerated. Somebody said, hey, was this the January dump? Was this a January dump? And that's not a bad question, because we did start the rally in, I believe it was in September for Bitcoin. And it's not a far out theory there. If we look and we go to the weekly time frame, let's have a look at when the breakout occurred. Maybe all the months are just a little bit early here. So we can see here that we started to break out in September. So there's the September low, and we broke out in September. And it's quite possibly, even if we go to the monthly time frame here, this could look a bit crazy here, but even if we go to the monthly time frame there's the low. There's the September low, and then, it's the September low. And then obviously as we come into, so maybe this was historically meant to be October, November, maybe this was December, and maybe this was the January drop. Is that something worth considering? I thought it's worth considering there. Somebody did ask that question, I believe, in the Discord, and it's certainly worth considering that possibly we are 1 month ahead of the typical cycle. And that's definitely a possibility. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that is a possibility there. And I did share yesterday about the liquidation levels down to, where do we have it? 100 and 100K. And where is Bitcoin sitting? Bitcoin did breach a little bit below that. I did update at the Discord that I saw some additional liquidation levels down to 98K. And then I thought that would be it. That's what I shared in the Discord. And I do think that this is, I'm not saying that with any certainties, but I think the probabilities is that is the case for now. And now, of course, we can come up here and have a further plunge down, and we're going to look at the liquidation heat map to see where is the liquidity, because we're going to follow the yellow brick road, We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. And here we have, obviously, the highest, brightest areas are where the most amount of liquidity is. And look what we're seeing here. We are seeing liquidity again down here. People are going long, thinking this was the final flush out. And we do have some liquidity down here at 99,200. Now, I did say yesterday that I felt it would come up and tag that 102K level. That's exactly what's happened there, okay? And so as we come into the 24-hour time frame, we are now seeing this tagged, okay? And this is why I've been looking. Now, I do not use this as a stand-alone indicator. At some point, liquidity will get left behind. I use it as in conjunction with a bunch of other analysis, market analysis, and indicators. I need that. I've had questions about how people are just trading according to this. And while it may work out, and you may get some trades going, it can be extremely risky. So I just want to let people know that. Then if we go to the 48-hour time frame here, we can see, again, this has been taken out above. And look, you can see liquidity is slowly starting to build above price there. It's nothing bright yellow yet. So I think we're waiting. The market is just settling down, but you can see this get taken. If we move to the 3-day time frame, now we start to see the brighter areas come up at about 108,000. There's 77 million to be liquidated, a whole bunch really there. Hundreds of millions of dollars would be liquidated there. Let's look at the weekly time frame there. And there is still below. I mean, you can go down to 97. It's just not the brightest. The strongest up here is this. I feel this is brighter. Is this brighter? This seems to be brighter up here around 108 and 109 seems to be a little bit brighter. It's pretty close. We just come down. That 98,691 level, there is 91 million sitting down there. So that would kind of, if we go back to the 12-hour on the shortest time frame, the most liquidity is below at the moment. We do see some above here at 103. and 104, but most of that liquidity seems up around 108, 109 on the other time frames. So what would I do if I was the market maker? I don't want to say that anymore, because yesterday I said I'd come down and sweep that liquidity below, and that's what happened. So I need to be careful. I am not the market maker here. So yeah, look, is it possible as the market maker I'm now going to leave this liquidity behind? Well, now that really depends the question, are we really in the January? Now, if we're in the January kind of part of the cycle, then it's quite possible that we stay around these levels now, It's quite possible that I have to reevaluate where I feel Bitcoin is getting to in December. But these are things that I think we'll be able to look back with much more clarity in hindsight. But right now, when we look, we've got to have those two options on the table. That's possibly is this the January dip? Is this the January sell-off where first week of January it pops down or around there, and then it kind of goes sideways and dumpy, and then alts begin to move? Or is just a bit of a black swan thing that was brought on by Powell and some of the irresponsible comments that he made that I did think right the week before Christmas were quite irresponsible there. And so those are the two options that I'm looking at the moment. And as the market begins to evolve today, I want to see what happens when all the time zones wake up and how the market reacts and responds there. But it's quite possible we come down again and retest this level down here. So if we look at that, how that might look on the charts there, you can see this here down. They've got a Fibonacci, this yellow Fibonacci. This is Fibonacci stacking at around 98,000. I've gone off multiple Fibonacci levels, I think 2 or 3 there. I won't go all the way back to look, but you can see around 97,955, and then here this Fibonacci levels 97,942. So there is some. This is a level here that we did not come down and breach, but it's possible we now are back trading in this kind of like 100K up to 104K level. And I did say yesterday that possibly this would be a deviation. This could be a deviation. We saw before where there's been deviations above the range, and then it's come back into the range. We saw here there was a small deviation above the range, and then we came back into this little range here between 93 and 98. And so we traded in that, and then we finally did broke above it and get above it, and then we were trading in this range, and now you see the same kind of pattern here, a deviation above the range, deviation above the range here, and then now we're back trading in this kind of 100K to 104, 105K zone. We could say, well, look, 104, 105K down to about 99, 100. Sure, it went down to 98 there. And so that's where we are at the moment. It's really just to determine now, is there going to be that normal push for the rest of December in through to Christmas and beyond there, and see Bitcoin hit these upper targets of 122. Now, certainly while I think it's still possible that we hit that upward target of 122, okay, we may, if this was a little bit, everything's running ahead of schedule, of course, because we had the ETF, Bitcoin ETF that came in. Bitcoin set a new all-time high before the halving, which has never happened before. And maybe we are possibly a little bit accelerated, but maybe we aren't. Maybe now that was the final flush out, the liquidity gets left behind, and then we surge into 122 to the remainder of December. So those are the two kind of things that I'm thinking and looking at the moment. I don't believe necessarily that the Bitcoin top is necessarily in at 108K, but maybe that was the high for December. Maybe we have seen the December high. Do you think we've seen the high for December? If you think we've seen the high, if you don't think that we've seen the high for December, what do you think the high for December will be? Do you think the cycle is just a touch accelerated and the January sell-off has come a little bit early? Although what kind of a sell-off it was, let's look at the measuring tool here. We can see that came down to, where did we come down to there? Possibly around 8%, a little bit of an 8% sell-off there. 7 or 8%. So it wasn't a huge sell-off, but remember, I didn't think the sell-off was going to be as big. Last cycle, we saw a sell-off in January of 2021 of around 30%. So January 2025 is usually when we have that sell-off, but this was quite a small correction in the, we had larger corrections already. We've had corrections in excess of 20% in this bull run, but never in excess of 30%, which is why I had kind of brought down my expectations and thought, well, I thought it's going to be a little bit less of a correction. So this will be something that we're interested to keep an eye on. Do you think the market's a little bit accelerated? Is this the January correction come early, or is this just a little black swan sell-off, a little bit of a shakeout before the break off and the Christmas rally continues? So the question is the Christmas rally over, do you think? I don't think the bull run is over, and I don't think the bull run is canceled. I know some people have asked that question, and that's why I led with that, just to share my thoughts on that. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed today's show, and of course, until the next episode, happy trading.